Oh, no.
I understand. You'll be back.
I don't believe it. I will be back soon.
All right, we'll wait for you.
Mitch's brother the other day, Matt. You would ask me.
John, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Hi.
Here, we need to move some stuff, or are you good?
Oh, I didn't
I'm
even
good.
see that stuff there.
I'll hold on to it.
I'm sorry.
I don't know what
Those
it
are those are the light bulbs for the Christmas, lights. Heard those are some. Probably to call her, and then my turn to come get them. That's so noisy.
Huh?
Hang on, let me fix my packets, John.
We'll wait out on it.
Okay. This is right. This is right. This is right. This is right. I can't remember, it's the brother that works on Rangers and stuff. Short, he's gray, he's all gray. Rangers, like four-wheel Rangers and racers and. He said he was your brother. He looks just like you, except for he's all gray.
Was it Ted?
Adam, I can see you've been working on Ranger.
Bailey, do you remember his name?
All I could think of was Turk, but I don't feel like that's his real.
Sounds good.
I asked. Is he a truck driver?
Yeah.
That's who it is then. So his name is Adam.
Commonly referred to as Turk, yeah.
Okay.
I was right.
You were right. Okay.
That's who I thought it was, but I didn't know for sure.
I couldn't remember. I mean, I know his face if he walked in the door.
He's gone by Turk since for 25 years plus.
This is his brother in grade school.
So is he older or younger?
He's a year older.
You're older.
Maybe that would give him that name.
See that?
That's what my Derek calls him. I'm like, I don't think that's his real name.
Maybe, maybe not.
Kyle's in Memphis.
Okay.
He texted back, came that group.
Oh, that was just the two of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He
Yep.
said he's in Memphis.
Okay.
So I don't think
so she can find her glasses.
No doubt.
We'll be holding the papers like this.
That's what it takes for a quorum.
Uh, There she's back.
Okay. Well, we got 6:05, we'll stand and say the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we'll call
Oh, sorry.
the July council meeting to order at 6:05. Becky, would you call roll? Bailey, you ready?
Ready.
Okay.
Polly Berkeley. Hannah Smith. Here. Lane Clark.
Present.
Matt Craig.
Um,
Kyle Michael. We have a quorum.
Understand we have 3 members present, we have a quorum. All right. Takes us to item B. And we have Carol. Carol, if you would stand up. Carol, we would like to present you a little plaque for our gratitude for your years of service, 16 years of service on the city council, and we appreciate your years of service. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right.
I hate to say it, but I have enjoyed the whole time and learning how a city operates, you know, because, and, you know, we're not a huge city, but there are still a lot of things that, you know, other people don't understand how they can do things and, you know, so, well, thank you very much. I appreciate that. I
Thank
didn't
you for
realize
you.
it was that long.
Thank you for your years of service. All right, that takes us to the approval of the agenda. Do we have any changes, corrections, additions to the agenda as presented? All right. Do we need a motion to approve the agenda if we have no corrections?
I'll make a motion
All right,
for the agenda.
Matt will make a motion. Hannah will second. All right. You got that, Bailey?
Got it.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. All right. That takes us to our consent agenda. Everyone had a chance to review the consent agenda. Any questions, concerns? Okay.
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
All right, got a motion by Matt
I second.
and a second by Hannah on the consent agenda. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right, motion passes 3-0. All right. That takes us to item Echo, special report. Sean, you got our 2025 audit, and I see you're gonna pass the
Yes,
paperwork
sir.
out.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sean Gordon with Gordon CPA. We performed the 2025 audit of the city, so I'll go through that bound copy that you have in front of you. We'll start with pages 1 through 2. This is called the Independent Auditor's Report. Here we discuss the opinion that we issued to the city's financial statements for the year ended 12/31/2025. Further on down, we talk about management and the council's responsibilities for the city's financial statements, and then a few more of our responsibilities as auditors. The most important paragraph on this section is page 1. Third paragraph down, you'll see an italicized heading called Unmodified Opinion on Regulatory Basis of Accounting. This paragraph states that we've issued the city the highest and cleanest auditor's opinion that we can issue. So that reflects very well on the financial and internal control management by city staff for the year ended 12/31/2025. And that is called an unmodified opinion. Flipping forward to page 3, this is called the Summary Statement of Receipts, Expenditures, and Unencumbered Cash. Here you'll see in the left-hand column all of the different funds of the city, followed by, for each of those funds, beginning cash, receipts, expenditures, and then ending cash. At the very bottom of that right-hand column, you'll see the city's reporting a little over $1.4 million on hand as of 12/31/2025. The next section forward is called the Notes to the Financial Statements, and that runs from pages 4 through 10. For those of you that have been on the council for the past few years, this section is mostly the same as what you've seen over the past few years. And what we saw last year, there were no major changes required by the state to this section. Here we discuss a variety of items, including different accounting policies that the city follows, information on the 12/31/2025 deposits and investments of the city and library, CAPERS and KPNF retirement program information, long-term debt information, interfund budgeted transfers that were made. Like I said, a bunch of items discussed in this section. The next section forward is starts on page 11 and runs to the end of the document, which is page 24. And here we discuss, here we present more detailed breakouts of the different types of revenues and expenses that take place in each of those funds that we saw previously on page 3. So if you flip to page 12, this is the general fund. And like I said, we give more detail on the different types of receipts and expenditures that take place. You'll also see the budget column, so that's the 12/31/2025 budget that was adopted for each fund. And then you can see in that final column how the fund operated against the budget that was adopted there. We did not have any auditors recommendation. That's it for the bound copy in front of you. We did not have any auditors recommendations to communicate to the mayor and council tonight. So again, that reflects very well on the financial and internal control management by city staff. And then last thing I want to point out is we had a great audit. Becky and everybody else involved in the audit process did a great job of answering our questions and getting us information that we requested. So we do appreciate that. With that, any questions for me on the audit report or the audit process?
All right, you guys want some more, you want to go over any of these funds in particular? Debt service stuff in there, you can kind of see how much we're in debt on the water project and paid off some of the previous, projects we had. With KDHE, some of those loans are paid off, and obligation bonds for streets and pool and those kinds of things. And some water in there several years ago. I'll talk about it a little bit when we get to the budget after we approve this, but one question I had and specifically, we know in library, we basically just transfer everything to library, and library board functions as they function and spend their money. So 100% of that fund is typically spent. Parks and Rec is along those same lines, however, they're under the city management piece of that. For the Parks and Rec, the money that they bring in, because we have some ad valorem tax, but we also obviously have fees and programs and stuff that they bring in. We try to give spending authority for those dollars that they bring in. Last year was $125,000, I think was the budget authority. If they bring in more dollars, I mean, this is a hypothetical question, as they move on and programs grow and that kind of thing, and they bring in more dollars, how do we handle that in audit space and budget authority? Is that an amendment to the budget, basically, if they want to spend it in that year, or instead of carrying it over to the next year?
Yeah, I mean, you can always budget high, right? You can assume that their program revenue is gonna be
Whatever.
higher than it ever could possibly be, right? And then that'll expand your budget authority
Okay,
as well. Or you can wait till the end of the year and see if it needs an amendment, because they've had such a great year with program income
right.
and then the related expenses.
Any particular strategy you've seen work better? Because that's kind of one of those where you really don't know
Correct.
what program performance is gonna look like.
Yeah.
Obviously, the whole goal is to get participation, so making dollars is not a huge, goal. But you obviously have to pay for it in some fashion as well.
Right. Yeah.
So,
We typically see it, I would say we probably see it more people going down the amended route rather than let's budget high and see what
Okay.
happens.
all right. Well, I was just looking at the strategy for next year.
Yes.
And handling that, because we haven't really talked about that in the last few years as that program has gotten bigger. I kind of wanted to know where we think we want to land in that.
For 25, I mean, it looks like they had a pretty good year, 25,000-ish out of program income.
Okay. So, all right. You guys have any other questions on the audit?
Where's the talk about the lobbying for the budget last year?
Well, we amended it, so,
The law, is that,
when we did, because I sent you that amendment.
we talk about it being amended on like page 5, I think. I'm not looking for that, but yeah, the budget amendment is reflected in the law enforcement fund itself. So the public safety fund ended up being 10,000, a little over 10,000 under budget on the expenditure side.
Including the amendment.
Correct.
Gotcha. All right. Guessing that's reflected in that operating transfer on page 13, be my guess.
I'm trying to find the email from Becky that had that in there, but I can't find it right now, but. Yeah, I can't remember which line that increased, but it definitely did increase to the $312,000 in the amendment. Looks like a few different expenditure lines on the public safety fund were increased after the amendment. It went from $244,000 in the originally adopted budget to $312,000.
Okay. All right, do we want to study it some more? Do we want to make a motion to approve the budget or the audit?
I'll make the motion to approve the audit.
A motion by Honda to approve the audit.
I'll second.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Second by Lane. Thank you. All right. Any other discussion? Want to? All right, want a little more time, Matt, or any other discussion? All right, not, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? All right, motion passes 3-0, is that correct? All right, thank you. All right, Sean, that takes us, after many, many years, Jim Long has finally decided to retire. I don't know how long Jim
Right.
did budget, but a really long time.
Really long time, yes.
Uh,
This page.
Gotcha. So Sean's here. We had Sean also, a different part of the group on the auditing side, but, also prepare, what we might look at is a 2027 budget. We received the revenue neutral rate of 71.732 mils. Last year, we levied 74.643 mils, so we were over the revenue neutral rate. We are, and correct me if I'm incorrect here, Sean, or anyone. If we wish to, which we probably will do, want to increase above the revenue neutral rate, and keep our current mills or some other rate above the 71.732, we will need to let the county know by the 20th of July and provide that paperwork to them with our intention to go above the 71.732 mils. Is that correct?
That is correct.
We historically have done that. We have not historically always went above the revenue neutral rate, but if you don't make the notification, you cannot go over the revenue neutral rate until the budget is final. So my suggestion is we'll probably make that notification, and I don't know, Sean, in other cities, I would guess that they probably do the same thing because they're unclear until they get through the budgeting process what exactly that mill levy is gonna be.
Correct. What the amount you let the county clerk know, you can eventually end up adopting a budget at that amount or lower. You just can't go higher.
So, and I would suggest, certainly up to you guys, that we at least look at the 74.643 mill rate that we did last year. Sean's prepared a budget with some small decreases, and we can move these around. We may need some more time to study them, and through our work session, what we think for mill rates and budgets for next year. They removed a mill, it looks like to me, removed a mill basically from law, general, and Parks and Rec. We went from 24,817 last year and in general, and this year Sean's proposing 23,563. So a little over a mill decrease, a mill two. I didn't do the math. Library went up just ever so slightly. We haven't got a request from the library. I'm guessing they will want a little bit more money this year, but the overall taxation rate did go up, so everybody is gonna get more money, based on that. Public safety went down by, again, a little over a mil, went from, or not quite a mil, went from 23,145 to 22,370. Streets basically remained unchanged at 948, last year we were at 946. And then Parks and Rec went down a mil. I would be concerned about Parks and Rec going down a mil to 4.53, but we can talk about that. Sean, you have anything to add on budgeting space? We did address a couple of things. Special highway, water, sewer, and we usually budget to spend all of the money out of any of those funds, really any of the funds. Where is, on this budget page, and maybe it's not shown on this one, is the GO bond? Debt service, oh, it's debt service.
Yes, correct.
Okay. So we made that adjustment, in debt service for that 141, for the 141,527. which is what the expenditures were in, out of that for the water project. We probably will need to make an amendment to the 26 budget to give that budget authority to spend those dollars. We'll do that. Recommendation is to do that towards the end of the year.
Yeah, I'll check in, probably just a little bit before Thanksgiving with Becky and see kind of where we are and any of the funds that need to be amended, and then we'll get that done.
Okay.
Before the end of the year.
Typically don't like to make adjustments. Might remember that is the first couple of years with the other debt service dropping off and adding the water project. 24 was the first year we paid for the water project. 25 and 26 were the first full years. Last year we did not give ourselves money to pay that out of debt service. We're transferring that money from water to pay for that. In the schedule of transfers. Which is not any different than what we've done in the past. Any questions on that?
I will say out of the 12 or so budgets that we do, I haven't heard of any city or county that we helped prepare for, of them staying revenue neutral. Everybody's seeming to increase. I think there's probably a few reasons for that, obviously inflation and stuff like that. However, there was rumors of what the state legislature was gonna do to cap some of the tax increases. And nothing happened in 26 session. But there is rumor about doing something in the 27th session, so just something to be aware of.
Yeah.
Moving forward.
It is always a challenge to chase what the legislature is gonna do in budget space.
Accurate.
And we don't have to decide this final budget now. Probably the only discussion we need to know for tonight is, are we gonna go, do you wanna submit to the county that our budget, the 74,643 or some other number, I mean, it doesn't have to be that number. Do we wanna submit our same mill levy for 26 that we do for 27? That would just make that notification. You can go above that or below that, or stay with the 71.
I would like to stay at the revenue neutral rate, actually lower the taxes for people in this town.
You can certainly do that in the final budget if that's, from a strategy perspective, if there's something comes up and we don't think we can live within that budget, then want to get the full council's opinion on that, that'd be my only thought. It doesn't hurt us to notify the county, I guess is what I'm saying.
So if you notify the county that you wanna raise it, and then stay with
You can always go lower, you cannot go, whatever we tell the county, that's the maximum you can go with.
but you can always go lower.
You can always go lower, you can do,
It's kind of like what we did last year, is we said we were gonna go higher, but then when we had the actual hearing, we didn't. We stayed at the revenue neutral rate. But sending to the county that we could go higher gives us the option if something comes up budget-wise that we might have to deal with.
And if we don't let them know by the 20th, then
We have to stay here.
then we will stay at the revenue neutral rate, that's what we will be. So, I have a tendency to agree with what Matt's trying to advocate, however, I don't, without going through the full budgeting
Property
process.
taxes already went up, so you already get more money anyway.
Yeah.
So really, you're getting more money if you stay. So, you're already getting more money.
Well, if you stay at the revenue neutral rate, you're getting the same amount of money as you got last year. From the city perspective,
Correct.
from,
And we're sitting at $1.4 million in our account, so I don't think we need more money.
someone want to make a motion of what they want to present to the county?
I'll make a motion, we were gonna present to the county, we're gonna go with the revenue neutral rate, 71722.
We have a motion, do we have a second for that? All right, motion dies due to lack of second. All right. We want to make a different motion.
I'll make a motion that we send them the 74.643.
Okay, we got a motion to send the county 74643. By Lane, do we have a second?
I second.
We got a second by Hannah. Any other discussion on that? All right, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Opposed.
Motion passes 2-1. All right. You got that, Bailey?
Got it.
Okay. All right. Any other, we want to talk about budget anymore? Any other recommendations in budget space, things to consider that you're aware of from the accounting perspective?
The only thing I would suggest is you don't have to just look at the expenditure side as you go through the budget. You could look at revenues too, sales tax, interest income, stuff like that. It could be way high compared to what I have. It could be way low in your opinion to what I have. So
Okay.
obviously the higher we budget revenues outside of property taxes, the less property tax you might need. And then the opposite as well. So if we don't think interest income is gonna be as high in 27 as what we've seen the past few years, then you might need some more property tax to help fund that difference.
Okay.
So look at that as well. I will
Okay.
send you the notice that goes to the county clerk.
Okay, sounds good. All right. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
For all
Appreciate
your help and guidance on that. I appreciate, and if you think of anything, let us know. Make sure we keep on track. We will have to notify the county, so we'll make that notification. Next steps on that, finalizing the budget. We will need to publish the public hearing 10 days prior to the actual public hearing. We have to have the final budget in by, since we've notified, by October 1st.
Yes, so your budget hearing has to be held between August 20th and September 20th, and then you have 11 days to get it to the county clerk, once it's
So
been voted on and finalized.
probably ought to plan on having if you guys want to do it in a special session, we can certainly do that. But we ought to plan on the September meeting, having the hearing in conjunction with the council meeting, if that's what you guys want to do. If not, we'll have to have a special meeting for the hearing, but we will need to publish, that makes us publish by, I don't know, August
20,
20th.
yeah, 20, somewhere in there, yeah.
Hey, how's it going?
Council meeting will be the 9th. And Carol, you know that guy?
Yeah, I know that guy.
What's up?
I'm at my council meeting.
Well, I thought that your council position had ended.
Oh,
Well, actually, can you give me a hand, getting Nate to wrestling?
Now,
Can you guys spare her for?
We can spare her
Okay,
if needed. We'll take a little break.
okay. Appreciate it. And I've got some vegetables from the garden we'll pass your way.
She got her
Oh, very
service
nice.
plaque for 16 years.
Nice.
Yeah,
I'll have to hang that up.
all right.
All right. Got it. There you go. Thank y'all very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Excuse the interruption.
All right, you guys have a good evening.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir, Carol, for your service. Okay. All right. Anything else in that, so that puts the council meeting at, what did I say, the 9th? So we'll need to publish, by at least the 20th, notification to the paper have to be that Monday before. Okay, so we'll need to plan on finalizing the mills and budgets by, mid-August.
Mid-August, yep.
So if you wanna do that at the August council meeting and then publish, we can do that, and then have the hearing in the September, or we'll finalize then in, we'll have to finalize at the September meeting. Okay, any other dates that we need to be aware of?
Yep, just those.
Okay, all right. Well, with that, I think, do we need anything else? You guys got any other questions? Okay,
Thank you.
Thank
If you
you
have any
very much.
questions on the budget over the next few weeks, reach out to me. If you want me to come back to a council meeting, just let me know.
okay,
I'll try to make it work.
sounds good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. With that, that takes us to F1, public comments. Public, do we have any comments? All right, I'll take that as a no. Takes us to, item golf. Maintenance action items, we got, couple different things. We did get roof bids. Becky's got 3 roof bids, for City Hall. We did some patching on City Hall, and we think we got some leaks fixed, but, we got Midwest Coating and, Gardner and Meridian. All 3 bid.
This is Gardner. And Meridian didn't have like a formal thing, they just sent it in an email.
It looks like we got a $30,090 bid.
But theirs was adding guttering too, that's why I highlighted those things.
Yeah. Those, the, TPO, new gutter and downspouts that would only be on the back. And edge rails. We don't know what that breakdown looks like between roofing and guttering. We can certainly ask for that.
So you got her in bad shape?
I don't think so.
There was a spot that they took pictures of the, I wanna call it flashing, but I don't think that's right, but the wood was exposed in the back.
Behind it. So I don't know, that could be either handled in how they bring the roofing over the top of it to cover that, or, this bid, do need to read the option. It appears to me that you have to add, the 3650 to the 815. Well, you need to take off sales tax. But, so that is going to be, what is that?
23,600
20, is that what it comes out
roughly.
roughly?
Well, if you're taking 1865 off.
Okay. And then the Midwest bid appears to include, at least the way I'm reading it,
Oh, wait, hang on, one more page back. There it is.
still the 60 mil TPO. I see steel flashing, 24 gauge, but it says it's got 1/2 inch by 4 by 50 EPS fan fold over the roof area above the insulation. So it looks to me like they're including the 1/2 inch board, but I don't know the equivalency between those two products. Are you guys familiar with those?
Are they installing it over what's already there? Or are they tearing it off, putting,
I thought it said in here.
Dispose of existing membrane only.
They're taking off the membrane. Is that what it? I thought I read that in there
Yeah,
somewhere.
it was bullet point 2, I think.
Oh, sorry, do I need to go up,
Yeah.
back? Okay, I'm sorry.
Removal of
Really?
existing membrane only. Okay, so they'll go over the top with this 1/2 inch fan fold.
Have you dealt with any of these companies before?
Well, Midwest, we've used them on the gym. I think the school used them. I believe that they put this roof on
This roof is 20 years old.
21
21.
or 22 years ago-ish. I don't know, we've used both we've used Midwest and we've used Gardner. Both seem to have good work.
How soon would they be able to put the work in?
I don't know if it gave us a time frame.
I think we did, that said that this was good for 30 days. Or I don't,
You want any? So it looks like Midwest is the lowest bid, at least the way I'm looking at it. But I did not validate the comparison between the 1/2 inch materials. So
What was the number for Midwest?
21,930?
this one.
21,930.
Less cheaper than Gardner.
yeah,
Mhm.
they're the low bid. I mean, I have no reason to have done good work in the past. I mean, we're gonna need to replace the roof eventually. They came out, and Midwest came out and patched it. Now, when we wanna look at that and replacing it, I don't know, but certainly.
What about insurance? Does insurance cover some of it? Sometimes,
I did not file a claim
okay.
on that. I could file a claim on the air conditioning, because it's not as old, I don't think.
I don't, we can check into it. There's nothing specific that happened to it
Right.
other than
It's just,
So,
it's old. It probably has some hail damage, I would assume. The TPO, some people don't like TPO. I will say, when I did some research, the PVC is another option. It's a little more durable. The information I had, though, is in our climate, works great down south, but in our climate, when it gets freezing out, it has a tendency to get brittle, and if people get up on it for whatever reason, or if it gets too cold, sub-zero temperatures, it can crack. Cause it shrinks that much. But,
And
I don't know.
we had water coming in upstairs at one point. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what they came out and fixed in the back corner when we were up there looking around. There was and it was raining, and there was a steady drip of water. It wasn't a ton, but a steady drip of water coming down in the back corner.
So we could probably assume that when they peel that membrane back, there's gonna be water damage somewhere they're gonna have to fix while they're there.
It could be, there's a few spots, if you look at the ceiling tiles up there that obviously have leaked. We know there's some wall damage over here. We don't know if that's coming through the wall or if it's coming through the roof, maybe a little both. Kind of one of those maintenance questions, pay me now or pay me later, type deal.
Well, it's not, I mean, as it sits right now, that water damage isn't gonna get any better either way.
No. And I don't know if that, it did not appear, while it might have, it did not appear that that leak had been there for a real long period of time, but obviously it was dripping that day, because the spot I found was about the size of that. You know, and it hadn't, it's not like it was the size of this table, you know, that it had dripped in. It was a wet area, but definitely dripping
I don't like looking at passing it forward, to do it forward, because I think that a lot of, like, for instance, upstairs, right above here, where the wall is, the water's coming through the wall, that's something that's just been put off and put off
Sure.
and put off and put off, and eventually, it's gonna start running down the wall into here.
in. Yeah, we'll probably need some tough wood
So, I
or
mean,
something.
I think there's some repairs that are needed to this building just to keep it from falling into disrepair. So I just,
But that's why I was wondering how soon they could do it. Because right now would be perfect.
We
time.
would assume that by the end of summer, we can ask them, if we want more detail or we wanna approve it and then get a timeline, we certainly can do that. But I would expect by fall, this would be done.
Well, I would make the motion to approve Midwest. It's fine.
All right, we got a motion to approve Midwest, the low bid. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, got a second by Lane. Any other discussion on that? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 3-0, is that correct? All right. We did, discuss a bit last meeting on our current, side-by-side, Parks and Rec uses, maintenance uses, our Polaris 500, what it is? I think that's what it is showing some signs of getting old, basically. So we got some parts coming for it. We'll get it fixed up. Just a question: do we want to look at getting some bids for either a new side by side or a used one, or finding a replacement for? I'm afraid the one we have is getting enough age on it that we need to start thinking about that. We do have, maybe, let's see. We do have, money in, our equipment reserve fund, which is what it's for. Typically, we've said we're comfortable spending that fund down to $3,000 a year. We did pay off a Mini X, so if we'd like to purchase one, initial pricing kinda sounds like they're gonna be somewhere between 8 to 10,000. For a basic machine. Maybe if we want covers and sides and that kind of thing, could be run a little more than that. I don't know what we wanna look at in budget space, but
Is the skid loader the only thing we're paying for out of that budget currently?
yes.
And we made the last payment this year,
Oh.
so it's paid off now.
Yeah, it's, I guess we could look at it right here. It's on page, what page is it on?
8, I think.
8.
That's what the skid's for.
Mm,
Ooh, I can pull it up to the actual current amount. Is that what you're wanting?
Yeah.
Okay, I can pull it up real quick.
Oh, that's just leases, no.
Yeah.
Equipment reserve,
Equipment reserve,
1.9.
ending cash balance at the beginning of the year was, 26,603. So that was the beginning of the year. We've paid some stuff off and we'll be adding another 29,000 something more for that. So, I don't have to make a decision tonight, I just didn't know, wanted some guidance as to what you guys' thoughts are in equipment space.
Do you think,
Can you get some bids?
Yeah.
Just so I know how much it is and.
Okay.
You know, what all
Kinda.
comes with it.
Okay,
yeah,
all right, we'll bring some, we got one bid for something very similar, because I was trying to get a ballpark of what this is gonna cost. They had a used one listed on somewhere, one of the websites, and then, so I called them, they sent me, it was like 8,500, but I could buy the same unit, and I think it had 175 hours on it or something. But I could buy a brand new unit, look very similar to it, for $9,200.
that comes with warranties and.
Yeah, so I'm like,
We have about 6 months warranty.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they don't offer.
Oh, I didn't know that.
but obviously, you know, when you buy used stuff, you never know what.
Sure.
The one we bought, we paid 8,000 for, and it was used. And that was,
What number is equipment reserve?
uh,
Fund number. I have the sticky on my keyboard over there. I can't remember. It's like, cause it's not,
04.
04. I was gonna say 4, but I wasn't confident.
I don't know, we bought it 4 or 5 years ago, maybe, at least, maybe longer. So,
It's still got some value to it, I would assume.
yeah, it's got some value. It works, and, the fan went out of it, so it was getting hot, and, we believe the transmission, we put new axles in it, and I think there's some transmission issues that need. Oh, is that what it is? Front differential, according to Becky. I knew it was something up there. I didn't know where it was at. I just knew we put axles in it and that didn't fully fix the problem. So, all right, we'll get some bids and,
So that's the
And-
balance now.
that's our balance currently. So we continue to add to that for the rest of the year. We don't have any other expenses coming out of there, so. There is some dollars there to be spent. If we so choose to do so. But when we do think about budgeting, do we want to look at any equipment purchases, any large equipment purchases? I know Matt sent me we talked about a grapple bucket. Again, that would come out of this fund. There's some online auctions that can go fairly cheap. Couldn't really tell on some of those, as Matt pointed out, some of those are made in other foreign countries and not exactly what you might want. they are cheaper, but we do probably need to think about our salt and sand box. As another item, speaking of budgeting items. So, things to think about there. All right, we'll get some bids on that, and we'll get some bids on a few other things, and bring them back to the council. Is that the direction we got on that? Okay. G2, OPR action items, we don't have any that I'm aware of. Ball season, I will just say in the report, ball season finished up. We'll be putting some reports together, mainly for Parks and Rec Board. But if you guys are certainly welcome to look if you have any questions on any of that. Trying to gather what expenses look like, what concessions look like, what our payroll look like for umpires and concession stand workers and all of that stuff to see how that balances out with fees that have been charged and those kinds of things. So we'll try to put those together for softball, baseball, and then what we did for summer camp will be ending here pretty quick, and then pool will be finishing up. We're gonna try to run the pool obviously as long as we can. We've had some discussion, and I guess we'll move kind of put those two together a little bit, G2 and G3 on pool. Had some discussion on do we want to leave the pool open with, if somebody can run the window and that kind of stuff with limited lifeguards, or posting it with no lifeguards on duty. We've never done that, but it is a way maybe to leave the pool open longer for citizens to use if that's what we want to do. I know hotels and those kinds of things keep their pools open with no lifeguards on duty. Do we want to do that or not? I don't know if we've ever done that. Maybe we have. Something to think about before we end the season here, because
If the kids are there with their parents, just like anywhere else.
yeah. So I don't know. If we can, we think we have some students that are able to do that on the weekends, and obviously once school starts up, that limits the ability during the week, but do we want to maintain the chemicals, through maybe Labor Day or through the, till it starts getting a little chillier out? Don't know.
I don't see why not. I mean, if it's worth seeing if we can, if people want to utilize it.
Sounds good. All right, well, we'll look at the options for that. Make sure we have something for the August meeting and see what our options are in that space.
Could there potentially be some struggle for the city, some liability for the city if something would happen?
That would be my question. There's always liability for the city if things happen, regardless of whether you have lifeguards or not. Is there more without? Potentially, we can certainly ask insurance space what their thoughts are on that,
You would assume that parents watch their children, but sometimes they don't.
well, none of us want a tragedy, obviously. We don't wanna give opportunity for that, but we do want opportunity to use the pool as much as we can. It's a lot of effort to get it up and going, and it's been a lot of effort to get it up and going. I'm not saying any more on that. I don't want to jinx anything.
It would be nice if it could stay open.
So, with that, working with the Community Foundation, there was a donation from, and Friday they're having a swim / fundraiser, I guess, for Yolanda. She had left some dollars for the pool, matching that with Community Foundation and the Patterson Foundation, and so they're looking at some improvements. The things that we came up with when we had the discussion, they'd like to look at a slide, which we talked about that earlier, a new diving board, pergolas, maybe some other shade areas, and a few other things within, but those are the big items. Many of you may remember Yolanda, she was a big advocate of the pool. She taught adult water aerobics for many, many years and really loved spending time in the pool. So she had left some dollars to make some improvement at the pool. So we'll be working on that. We'll keep you informed of how that's progressing. I think that was all public information, any questions on that? I thought that was awesome
Yeah.
to look at that. So, Yolanda was a big part of the community for a lot of years, and so. All right, with that, it takes us to public safety action items. I don't know if we have any. Okay. You have anything else, public safety? Nope. All right. Sounds good. Financial report, that takes us to G58, financial report.
Is that good? Vision-wise?
Yeah. All right. These are looking fairly good. Water, we're holding our own on that. That is improved with the changes. We are no longer negative in revenue. Our expenses have been running slightly positive. Law is doing pretty good. We will need to continue to watch that through the end of the year, make sure we stay on budget. O&M, water O&M reserve, looking okay. Parks and Rec. No, that's special highway. The wrong one. Park and Rec is looking okay. Expenses should be going down in Parks and Rec space through the rest of the year. Still will have some expenses. I don't know, Becky, street maintenance, okay, geo bonds. That's the discussion we had earlier on geo bonds. We'll have to make a budget amendment towards the end of the year on that. And that's to pay for our water, debt service.
We did discuss that, correct?
Yes.
Right? And it was, the budget authority was not correct. Okay.
So.
Well, it's been pretty good. I feel like we've been pretty conservative, even though we've done some good repairs to buildings and things.
Yeah. Sewer's looking okay, sewer O&M's, looking pretty good. Pool, we'll finish up pool, we'll see how we're doing overall in expenses. I'm guessing we will be losing money on the pool, but we know that. We'll see once all the pool ends up at the end of the year what that looks like. Typically, we'll transfer a little money out of the general to cover those expenses. And then we talked about water sewer debt payment reserve. We made some payments out of there. Employee benefit reserve and then capital projects. We'll see that expenditure, that's that first drawdown, is that correct, Becky?
And, yes,
First drawdown that we approved
yes,
last meeting. So
the
we
big
get-
one, and then we also had some other, engineering expenses
Yeah,
that
so-
went with it,
so-
too, but that big one is the drawdown.
Yeah, 10,864?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, you might remember, we created a Fund 20 for programs. It's basically summer camp, is that correct?
Yeah, that's okay. And there was Madison has been watching that pretty close because, she overspent, just a little. Her expenses exceeded her revenue. And so she's actually talked to her director about making sure that they're really monitoring, the hours that people are working,
So,
so we don't, so she doesn't overspend that.
but it looks pretty good. We had, just a little bit over, if we're within, $20 of expenditures, we're doing pretty good in summer camp.
Yeah.
It's a vital part of our community, and I think it's a good service for the community, so, I think that's awesome that we're being able to provide that service. All right, any questions on that? Any other, what else you got, Becky?
Well, we talked about, this budget authority, this is 100% budget authority.
Oh, yes.
So this is, the percentage is if we are planning on using 100% of the money that we have budgeted for. So I didn't know if that's the way you wanted me to do that, or if you would like to think about only spending like 85% of our budget authority, so that guarantees us cash rollover for the next year. So if you wanted me to do that and do some changing, and that this is if we spend 100% and this is if we stick with 85% of the budget authority.
I thought we talked about that before.
We have, but when I built my spreadsheet, I put it as 100%, but I just didn't know what you wanted me to do. If you wanted me to show it at 85,
I would prefer that.
okay.
So we always have
Or do you want to
some-
see both?
Or we could see
Yeah,
both.
or-
I could put both on there to show that if we're gonna stick with only spending 85 of the budget authority, this is where we're at. If we're gonna spend 100%, this is where we're at.
It gets back into a philosophy budget question as well. Like the library is always gonna be 100% at the end of the year. We expect that all the money we get is going to the library for that particular fund. But is Parks and Rec the same way? Do we expect them to spend everything that they bring in or carry some over? I don't know. If the programs are paying for themselves, one could see that it's a kind of a break-even type deal. Water, I don't think water, sewer, we wanna look at it like that. Public safety may be one we wanna look at 100% expenditure, or at least 95% expenditure. They typically only have one source of revenue. So how do we philosophically view that expenditure? We can look at the 80% or 85%, but, to get an idea of how we're doing through the years, so we don't run into a surprise like we did last year. That's what we're trying to avoid. And making sure we're taking steps before we get to that.
Kind of a safety issue in my opinion.
Yeah, it's a safety net, just to make sure that we're
Right.
staying on top of the expenditures and looking at what do we
And
really want.
I don't want the data to be misleading. So, cause like right now, this is showing we're spending 100% up to the budget authority. And so I wanna make sure that I'm putting out what you want to see.
I think it's fine to see that, because we know that they've used 42% in equipment, or, law, we know we use 36% of water,
And that's if they use 100%.
that's
so-
100% of their budget.
Right,
And then we know if we get 85%,
if
We
we're
know.
almost to, need to be
you
paying
need to
attention.
be watching.
Okay,
Like, you got
oops,
Whoops.
the library is hitting 88% right now, and it's
Yes.
highlighting yellow. Like,
yes,
hey, which,
Is that
Nice
okay or
number.
is that out of?
I think that's fine.
okay,
All right. I see how you're looking at the opposite way, instead of looking at planning on that. If in, September, we've spent 85% of our budget of a particular fund,
Yeah.
you know. But to that point, if you have to spend the rest of the money for the year, you probably will be over budget. I don't know, it's that, however you wanna look at that, maybe 75% is where we start turning things yellow or red, or,
Well, I was gonna do it 50. If it's at 50, I'm gonna turn it yellow, and then if it got 75, I was gonna turn red. That was my plan in my brain,
okay,
but I
well,
just
that
wanted to
would work
make
too.
sure that
That
works
sounds-
for you guys.
That's fine with me too.
You wanna try that? Okay, you guys good with this, and we'll, yellow at 50 and red at 75?
Okay.
So the library needs to be red.
Yeah, the library should be red now. And I have talked to Kyle, and Kyle is very, he's paying very close attention to it. And he said that he knows that they won't get that very much more from the tax levy, so he's aware.
Yeah. The thing we gotta be careful on the library is if we happen to get more dollars, that we don't pay them more than our budget authority. We have done that in the past,
Yeah, I did that when I first started doing mine.
so. We don't wanna, well, we've done it more than once, but
Okay.
by accident.
Before I
just-
was city clerk, I did that.
Before you think about, because we assume that everything we get goes to the library, and we don't anticipate getting more money than what the levy is. But if county has a tax sale, or if something happens countywide, that can affect that. You could get additional dollars that you were not expecting.
Okay.
It's happened a few times in the county, and that usually happens when they are having tax sales or having some other back delinquent taxes coming in or something of that nature. So, and that's true on all funds. Doesn't happen often, but it does happen. Okay,
And then the other thing I wanted to ask is, so, Brian, the accountant, that follows through everything, he suggests that we move some of this into, a CD. He feels like that's too much money sitting in the checking account.
we have some CDs already.
This is the only one I didn't balance on this month, so I forgot to call. That's the one I can't.
So you wanna put some more dollars in CD as kind of the basic question? We'll give Becky authority to move those to the best rate CDs she can come up with.
I will confer with Brian, the accountant. I'm not gonna do that on a whim. I'll get some.
Do they renew every year, those CDs?
I think they vary.
Okay.
Can renew every year, can renew every 3. We have done, Kathy one time did it was a state fund, it was a municipal savings fund, I don't know. There was a municipal one for cities that was paying a little bit more interest rate than the banks were paying. Typically, we try to go with the 2 banks. So, we can find out what the rates are.
Do we know what the rate is for CDs?
One of them is at 3.5. I just got a statement from one of the other ones today, or yesterday. But the one I looked at today was 3.5. I can't remember the other one.
That's not bad.
All right, you wanna give Becky authority to, use discretion in moving some of the money to CDs? All right, we'll need a motion for that.
I make the motion to give Becky the authority to move some money to CDs.
Okay.
After talking to her.
So Brian, yeah, sure.
We have a second for that?
Second.
All right, we got a second. Elaine? Any other discussion on that? Not, all in favor? All opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Okay, let's, any other questions on,
And then I have the trash.
what, before we move, where's your transfers, Becky? Or is it, maybe it's highlighted in there?
Where are my transfers? date. Sorry, my numbers are kind of funny, but that was just easier for me. So this is how much we are transferring, like, to pool, to equipment reserve, to water and to parking lake. So this is the to column, and this is the from column.
So the bond and interest, what I was gonna point out is, the intent is to move money from water to, bond and interest, and then pay the yearly loan out of that, just in bond and interest. We didn't give ourselves enough budget authority to make that payment. So, that's what the budget amendment is gonna
Yeah.
be reflected in the end of the year. So obviously, the 63,000 we have in there is
And
not gonna cover a $141,000 bill.
not right now. It's only
Not
June.
right, not right now, but it will.
I mean, we got July, August, September, you got 6 more months of transfers to go
Right.
through, so.
But we don't have budget authority out of that particular fund. So, just wanna make that clear. Okay, anything else on that?
And then the trash
Trash
report.
report.
So, this is where we're at here. Today, I decided I need to talk with Ben to find out, because this report is I'm pulling out of what's coming in and what's going out, not what we build and what our bill is to Joe. Does that make sense? So I'm only going off of the receipts of what we actually bring
We
in.
may have billed people, but they may or may not have paid.
Okay. And then we do have the extra dumpsters in the summer too.
Okay, any other questions on that? Any other things you wanna present in the treasurer's report? Okay. We have a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
Make a motion.
Matt makes a motion to approve the treasurer's report. We have a second? Second by Hannah. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 3-0 to approve financial report. Okay, that takes us to G6. We won't have an executive session for consultation with attorney. Unable to be here. Would entertain a motion for an executive session for acquisition of real property.
I gave that to somebody, Matt, is it in your stack?
It might be. Hopefully I seen something. Who all needs to be here?
Just the council and clerk.
For 10 minutes?
I would think so.
10? 1? Okay, I move that the governing body recess into executive session to acquisition of real property pursuant of the KSA 75-4319B. 6, the open meeting will resume in 10 minutes. City Hall at 7:34. Those present will be city council and the city clerk.
of
Sorry.
executive session, you're good. At 7:35. All right, no decisions, no actions were taken. Do we need any additional discussion? Okay. All right, that takes us to library conference room AC. All right, so during the storms, we believe we had lightning strike or something, I don't know, some sort of problem. Anyway, the heating and air does not work in the library after the storms. We believe it was struck by lightning. We put in
Tim thinks it was struck by lightning.
we put in an insurance claim and they've submitted all that information to them for that. We found a couple other,
This is Tim's replacement to replace it.
so,
And, so he told me over the phone that if you put in exactly what was there, which is exactly the same brand and everything, which is Carrier, it was gonna cost $20,000. He said he doesn't use Carrier anymore because they have jacked up their prices so high and it's the same equipment. So he bidded this with this other brand of stuff that he uses. And John asked me, why didn't I go ahead and get 2 or 3 bids? I didn't because Barrington is the ones who maintain everything in that building, so I didn't know. And they're all in the same room, what's it called, electrical room. You know, we got all 5 air conditioners in that one room, and I didn't know if we really wanted to pick different companies doing which unit of this or that. So I just took his bid and I put in a claim with this information to the insurance company.
So is it getting fixed, or?
Not yet, I have to wait for your guys' approval because it's over my authority.
So I think we need to get it fixed, so.
I would agree. It's a lot.
yeah, I would agree. It's a little warm in the conference room the other day.
Does it seem favorable to the insurance?
I think so. I also put this in the FEMA report with the county. So we claimed, all of the damaged stuff, and and then the unit, and one of the units in the community room also was a side effect, Tim thought, of the lightning strike on that one, so there was some things burnt. One of the fans, and it was in my budget authority approved, so I just approved to get that one fixed. But I did put that on the insurance claim as well. So,
And they've been out with air conditioners that long?
they fixed the one in the community room, but the conference room doesn't have any air at all. It's really hot in there.
Luckily, it doesn't affect a lot of the library, but it does affect a section of the library.
Okay.
So the library proper and the community room have been fairly cool, but the conference room, good thing it's in the middle of the building. It's not been,
Okay, it's pretty uncomfortable.
it gets, in the afternoons, you don't wanna have a meeting in there. Just ask me. All right,
Have we looked into surge protectors or anything to keep this from happening in the future?
I don't know that we
I
have.
don't know.
On,
On the units themselves?
yeah,
I'll just look it up.
okay.
I don't know how often this is came up.
I did find out that it's an original unit when they built the library. So it hasn't been replaced or had any repairs done
Yeah, I don't
to
think
it,
we've
so.
replaced any of the heating and air.
No.
I don't know. When the library was
It's
built,
somewhere
I
in
can't
pretty good
remember.
shape then. I'll make a motion to approve Barrington's, estimate.
All right.
Or bid.
Second.
We got a motion to approve this and get it fixed
Mm.
by Lane and a second by Matt. Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay.
most likely we'll probably get a reimbursement from the insurance.
Right, yeah.
And we may get somebody from FEMA too, so.
Any other discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye. But
All opposed?
it's-
All right, motion passes 3-0.
Do you want me to ask Tim about that?
Typically, it'd be an electrician that would do that, but yeah, Tim might.
I mean, he might.
Yeah.
Okay.
We have a new electrician west of town, or east of town.
Barrett?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know much about them, but they're out of Colorado.
Yeah, I've seen some of his work, it's less than favorable.
All right. Okay. That takes us to H2, Surrey Lane update. So we got our initial report. You guys can feel free to study this.
I think there's a black and white.
So you can read through here, they broke it up into, Becky will pull that up. They broke it up into A through A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Watershed area, they came up with 2 proposals. Talked to Keith, and this is not the final, proposals, they want some feedback. I provided some feedback, to Bill, or William Mann is the engineer working on this, as well as Keaton. The 2 proposals, this talks about the drainage, what they found, and talks about the proposed conditions. Got some structures in there. The feedback I provided is we needed some information on the south end of Surrey. And they also, yeah, that's what I'm looking for. They also would like to do some culvert measurements along Surrey, to take a look at that. But their initial, based on drainage and based on flood calcs, you can read in there how they did the flood calcs. They came up with 2 basic proposals. There's some driveway proposals that will need to be addressed, but as far as the overall drainage question, they took these areas. Go on to the next. They just gives a little more information as to some elevations and what have you. And then this is proposal 1, option 1. It is taking water basically to the edge of the property, between, I guess between, Mr. Graham's, a pointer. I need a pointer. So it's basically taking, from here, taking water out to here, just inside of the agricultural ditch out here. They're also then proposing this curb, an actual curb and gutter with a storm inlet here and here, so taking all this water from Graham and getting it out to this field. In addition to that, which is the same picture there, this set of trees and berm would need to be addressed and removed in that option. So a little more dirt work, a little less work with, the agricultural people. Who is that? US, is it USDA? What's the office that does the, berms and terraces and drainage in fields. So a little less discussion, or a little less discussion on that option, because we're staying within, kind of outside the agricultural berm that was constructed, which they had some money involved in constructing this. This second proposal is basically the same proposal. The only difference between that, as you can see, that instead of stopping it right here where the other one is, they extend it on out into the main drain of the agricultural ditch. And then they don't do any tree improvements or any ditch improvements behind any of the houses. So they're taking all that water, getting it clear on out into the middle of the drain. That's why it's gonna take a little more discussion with agricultural folks. That's really the only two differences. They're still building the curb and inlets, all of that's the same.
I thought this was mainly to address the water at the other end of Surrey.
Well, it is. Because currently, if you might remember, all of this water right here is going across over here and along here, and then at the end of the ditch, it is going back, if you wanna go back. So in this, right now, we got all this drainage going along the east side of all these houses and never gets here, and then we're taking it at the end of this and pushing it back over here. So we're trying to keep this water out, to stop it before it gets to these houses, and then we'll have less issues down here. And Keithan's feedback, if you go back one more, Becky. This right in here, they have not included it, but we have a drainage easement that we obtained that right along this house, right here. Because right now, all this water down on this side and this side is coming to this point right here and then has to traverse east and west. We're trying to make water make a 90-degree turn right there. So they want to take driveway measurements, and there's some in there to fix several culverts along this side, but they have some questions about some culverts on this side as far as tube size.
I was gonna say, why don't they just put all big culverts in on that side to handle it? Put all the same size culverts in.
Well, that's what they're discussing.
Because addressing the water right there is not addressing, they're still gonna get flooded at that corner because all that, water, no, over there,
Here.
on behind Wordman's and by
Yes.
Scott Abrams, all that water comes this way.
Right, but we're not taking right now, all of B, F, C, and C1 is all coming to this G and H. And then we're trying to push it over here.
All the water from Hammett's coming up down the hill of Santa Fe Trail is all coming to Second and Surrey also.
Yes. So they are trying to get all of that, all of this water here, out here. So. I don't know.
So by redirecting that water up there, that's gonna lessen the load.
That'll lessen the load down here, but
And lower.
But they still need to make recommendations as to some additional culvert size. Keithan did tell me that they wanted to do some remeasuring, make sure they knew what all those tube sizes are so they could make recommendations. What you're suggesting, Matt, is what size tubes do those need to be? And then what do we want to do with this corner? How do we want to handle this corner down here? Do we want to get this water out here? But it's got to get back over to this agricultural field as well. The only problem with getting it to this agricultural field, this right here is the ditch. This is all row crop in here. So
And south of that's railroad right away, is that right?
it's all taken out. So there has been some flooding across here and washing out of this bottom of this field down through here. It's improved, but. So the next phase is finishing up this report and then making those recommendations Then we'll have to figure out construction. My approach, at least my thoughts are, I don't think we want them to fully, unless you want them to, but it's gonna be some more dollars, develop construction plans and bid this out. I think that's probably something we can have them develop some basic guidelines and then us bid the project ourselves. As far as construction, especially on the dam.
So they're just giving us what they think's gonna work, and then we would find the subcontractors to do that stuff ourselves, is what you're.
That's what I'm suggesting, yeah. Or, you know, so if you look at additional, to these improvements, the replacement of the driveway culverts, which is what you're getting at, Matt, along, the east side of Surrey, Lane with 18-inch CMP is proposed, including in addresses 302, 210, and 206. Lastly, the cross-street culvert at the south end of Surrey, that pipes the stormwater west, to the ag field is replaced with 24-inch CMP. And then they are also going to take a look at whether they want to take it straight south or still turn the corner with that 24-inch. And it's based on the 10-year storm model. And I believe these two tables are their total calculated areas. And this is the first one, and then the second one is their runoff, what they anticipate or what they've calculated in the new conditions. Notice area, the ag area doesn't change much. B changes from, if you're looking at TOC, 22 to 22. C1 and C2 drop down. They changed from 8. Is that right? 11.5 to 8. And the others drop down from 15 to 11. I think those are all their calculations, what they anticipate in flow. Inches per hour. And flow rates in feet per second. That's what I'm getting out of that. So if we need some more explanation on their tables here and stuff, we can certainly ask that. But they wanted some feedback on this proposal. What do we think's missing? What are our concerns? So well, that's kind of where they're at on their analysis so far. Seems like it'll work. That's why we wanted some engineering help on this. This is not a simple solution. I did not plot out which addresses those were. 302, 210, and 206.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
So, right here in this parking lot, where they say they're gonna put a curb, this is gonna, like, drains, right?
Yeah, that all,
goes
that
under the
all,
ground.
that is a
Curb.
curb to keep it from running onto the Warden property.
Yes, but my question is it gonna keep the water, but then is the water then just gonna,
It's going to go to this drop-in box right here and then out to the field.
Okay,
This is
so
all-
it'll run along the curb into the drop-in
This is all
box.
going here, and then this section right here is obviously coming around the corner,
Okay,
which is what it currently
that's
does.
that's the drop-in box. Was the question. Okay.
But if you've ever been over there when it rains, all of this water right here has a tendency to run onto the parking lot and then come over here, but most of it comes back across the road over here on either above ground or over ground, or underground or above ground. It's kind of a river across the street. All right, so provide some feedback and we'll get that back to Keegan. He's gonna be out for a week or so, a couple weeks. So we'll get that feedback to him and hopefully have, some additional information, but this is the draft of the proposal and to get it out in front of you guys. So you see we'll send this to some of the property owners over there, make sure they are aware that we've got a draft report out there so they can review it. And I just had a short conversation with the engineer, Matt. If you wanna have a conference call with him or whatever, just let us know, we can set that up. Ask him some more definitive questions. All right. Any other questions on that? Okay.
So this is a public thing, so people from that neighborhood, if they want it, I can send it to them.
I don't know why you couldn't. I mean, it's a draft report at this point. It's not final.
It's not final. Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Unless you guys. I don't see why they.
If they have any questions or concern about the draft,
Yeah.
now would be the time to bring it up.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
All right. If not, that takes us to stage 3, update on well 2. I don't have a ton of updates. We did meet with the engineering firm. They took a tour of all the wells, look at the location, put some eyeballs on some pumps and what have you. They're gathering up some information. We've tried to provide all the information we have on the wells. A little bit of question as to why we have water there. None of us really know, but we do. The thought process is right now that they are going to look at moving over some direction. I don't know exactly which direction. As fairly close as they can get with equipment and what have you, and drill a new well next to that one, and then fill the other one in and use the existing controls and that kind of thing. So that's kind of the direction that we're headed right at the moment.
He's busy tonight.
Who?
Whoever was driving that truck, that's the second time they've gone down.
Any questions on that? That's all I really have on that. We don't have any dollar figures, we don't have any, we've given them all the information that we've had, at least that we can find, so. We couldn't find a ton of information about drilling, so they were gonna, their next steps were to look at some well drillers. We do have some, geotechnical information on, was it well 4? I think well 4, 3 or 4, I think it's well 4. To know what we think they might be drilling through. Looks like they got some layers of shelf rock and limestone, and then some shale, and then eventually into sand and that kind of stuff. So a little bit of rock that they'll have to be drilling through. So gotta find a driller that's capable of doing that. I don't know that Sargent was capable of doing that did the videotaping, so maybe some other ones. I don't know that for sure, they were gonna check. So, I don't know about Patchen, and I don't know about, Alexander, we've used in the past. Those are the three companies we've used in the past for well stuff, but I don't know that we've drilled a well either recently, so.
So, we use Lang.
And they mentioned a couple others that they were gonna get with, so if you have their contact information, just send it on to Becky and we'll get that to the engineers. Okay, and that's all I got on that. Did I miss anything on that, Becky? I don't. All right, new
I
business.
think I put that on there twice. So
Okay, we've already talked about the library, conference room AC, and what have you. Sidewalk grant application takes us to I-2. Everyone have a chance to review that? So we're applying with CDBG and Patterson dollars. We're looking at the budget we suggested, which we talked about previously, was, we'll have to do a fundraising event for the Patterson Foundation. What that may look like, I don't know. We were trying to tag that in with Yolanda's fundraising, but I don't know if we'll get that done, so maybe a separate event, but it'll have to be done. Is to try to get some dollars, from the city for sidewalks. We're thinking that's gonna be the 25% match. So we're wanting to raise $75,000 between the city, Patterson, and donations and what have you, to match our CDBG. That would put us at a total project cost of $425, what we ended up with. Okay. So, we're applying with that. You guys good with that?
Mhm.
Don't know if we'll get it or not, obviously. So, so we'll move forward on that, with that, unless anyone has any concerns on that. And what we're talking about there is constructing sidewalk, starting, which we will, our Surrey discussion will play into that, is, starting at, the apartments on the north side, going from basically water tower to water tower. And we would like to start, we may or may not have enough money to do the entire thing, but we'd like to start on both ends and work towards the middle, unless you guys have a different thought. Reason being, that would get us out of the park into maybe one of the older pieces of sidewalk that is currently existing. We don't know exactly how far, and then the same way on getting out of Surrey Lane, clear over there, and that parking lot up to, through the Hammets, and once you get to the next block, you kind of get into some of the older sidewalk. So we could look at a second phase of that, and then replacing that on to City Hall. And then there's some sections, we probably would not replace this section along City Hall here, unless we really wanted to. Might cut in some ADA at one end or the other, especially on the sidewalk across the way. But would we replace that along the bank? I don't know. If you guys have thoughts about that, or maybe we just tear it all out and replace it all. That's okay too. I think we can get, with that amount of money, we could probably get the whole sidewalk done, depending upon the bids.
And let's hope we get the grant.
Let's hope so. So, okay. All right, that takes us to I-3. Well, we forgot to put this on the agenda for last month, but apparently, obviously, due to unfortunate weather events and safety concerns from the shooter's side, it's very disappointing that we did not have our fireworks and 4th of July celebration that day. But with that, We're looking at rescheduling that to Labor Day, is kind of the discussion going on, to do the fireworks on Labor Day. So this is, normally we donate to, support the fireworks. We haven't done that this year. I think last year we had 750, or was it 1,000? I don't remember. Does the city want to donate to the fireworks? That's the basic question.
I'll make a motion, we donate 1,000.
Okay, we have a motion to donate 1,000 to the fireworks.
I'll second.
Got a second by Matt. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All right. All opposed? Motion passes 3-0. All right, we'll continue on that. So, got some thoughts for what we might want to do on Labor Day. Get those to the Pride group, and we're trying to have vendors and same type of celebration. We're just trying to move it to Labor Day. So, I know it's not ideal, but we think it'll be a good time for the city. So, all right.
And they're gonna do that on a Saturday?
Yes, on the Saturday. Labor Day's on Monday, I think. Hopefully that'll work for everybody. I don't know. I didn't know a different time of year that would work for that. Seems like people are available and might be something different to do on Labor Day. All right. Well, the next question is the Mayor's Summit dates, August 20th, August 27th, or September 3rd. Do you guys have a preference? Overbrook is hosting the Mayor's Summit.
27th is the scheduled work session day. That's the only thing that was
Yeah, which is a Thursday.
Thursday. I did Thursdays because that seems to work for other cities.
So, we want to do it during, make that our work session. We usually will be providing a dinner of some sort. So we'll probably have it at the library or at some other location, if that's when I have it at a different location.
27's fine with me.
For any of those days.
You like the
20th,
two?
I'll be here, but the other two are not.
Okay.
I can't be here the 3rd.
So we like the 27th.
27th,
Oh, I can't be here.
the third. The third, I can be.
You like the 20th? I mean, obviously, I don't know if all the council wants to be here or not, but usually a couple council members show up.
It's a nice work session, so we don't have to.
Okay.
That was my original thought, but then that's already on the calendar, so we wouldn't have to be.
We all can celebrate without me.
Okay.
We're fine.
Well, and then I gotta send.
It's
that
not
to
a
the
public
city.
meeting, so obviously we have to be cognizant of that, so.
Right.
uh,
So I'll send the 27th out to the other cities and see what kind of feedback I get from them.
Okay, if not, then we'll move back to the 20th. That seems to be the more popular day if we have to. They can't make it. Okay. Topics from last meeting, they wanted an update from the county, so we'll try to get some county folks here, maybe the treasurer or that, and see what they can tell us about updates from the county and where they're headed. That was the main topic. Is there any topics you guys would like to get information on from some of the other cities? So if you have topics, let us know.
Maybe what they're doing with their mill levy.
Okay.
We can compare and make sure we're not too out of pocket
Yeah. Every city's a bit different in how their income streams,
Sure.
so that'd be good to hear. Most of the other cities do have electric, or they do something different in gas spaces. Electric and gas is probably the big incomes that we are different in.
Sure.
So, all right, so we'll do that. Any other, anything else? Not, that takes us to comments, comments I had. Again, I'd like to thank the community, still cleaning up from the storm. Everybody pitched in and really helped, so I appreciate all the folks that have helped on that, or continuing to help on that, helping your neighbors pick up their items. And some of them will have much more damage than others, so still working through that, so appreciate all the work that's went into that. We do have, about, I would say, 75% of the pile burnt in the last 3 days, so, Danny and, Kenneth, they'll be working on, moving, the rest of the limbs and stuff, so we can get that burned off, and we'll try to get all the rest of the limbs, if people have stuff, get that taken care of as soon as we can. So the contractor rescheduled our, on-site meeting for next week. They had a family emergency, with the contractor, so they couldn't make it, to tomorrow's, on-site, construction meeting, so they're gonna do that next week.
How was that?
10, I believe, on Thursday, Wednesday.
15?
So they'll be meeting out on site, and starting, their work progress out there. One of the engineers, Keithan won't be there, he'll be out of town. One of the engineers that did some of the design work, will be there to start working through the process there. All right. If there's nothing else, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I make the motion to adjourn.
We got a motion by Hannah to adjourn,
Second.
second by Lane. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion passes 3-0. All right, we are adjourned. There, I guess we're officially adjourned now.
I just want to say, we went to Sedalia for 4th of July, and we expected this nice big firework. It was like 12 minutes of it. Oh,
Oh, they were going off like crazy on that side of town.
They were.
Really?
Yes.
I heard
I've
the
never-
other side of town
I've
was
never
really
seen so
good
many
too.
fireworks go off in town.
Oh, I haven't either.
There
There
was-
was a haze of smoke over on
Yeah.
that side.
It was crazy.
We can hear them at our house, but can see anything.
It's a good year for the fireworks stands.
Yeah,
That's,
it was certainly unanticipated to have rain.
Sure.
that's what my kids said, that they went to the Fair Board fireworks stand, and they were pretty much sold out.
Snakes and sparklers.
Yeah, yeah, they
Wow,
were like,
that's
I
great.
can't believe it was sold out. So, that's cool. Did you wanna bring your computer in?
Yeah, I can go
Leave it
grab it
for
real quick.
That would be great.
mine is finally working.
So
Maybe I just
John.
figured it out. I don't know.
Good.
what is he, what are we gonna do about the rest of that water down there? There's still water coming in from somewhere.
I know, so I've asked them to pump that out daily. We found that their Dollar General
Yeah.
sprinkler system was,
Was leaking.
so they got that shut off. I've